how much you owe.
Handwritten note.
Sure.
Or physically.
Hi, energy.
That creates the lid in everybody.
So if you and I disagree on something, then you must be erased and banished from life.
So how does
I'm just gonna sit here and drink this water.
Hi guys, thanks so much for tuning into this week's Sam Speaks and Sam Speaks radio podcast on iTunes. Today I have one of my favorite agents, Dusty Baker of Keller Williams Montecito, and he has grown his business so much from Instagram and Facebook and from blogging. So today we're going to discuss just that. Hello.
Hello, Sam. It's so good to be here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me.
Of course.
So I remember when we met, let's first talk about blogging because we met and we were talking about, how you're blogging and how I was blogging, and it just shocked me when you told me how much business you personally got from your own blog. So tell me about how you started to blog and how you turned that into generating leads.
Yeah, I started blogging. I really didn't want to. It's a lot of work. I'm not really a great writer. I didn't think I was, at least. And I work with a marketing guy. He's a good friend of mine, but he's just a genius. So I get all this free marketing advice. And he was saying blogging is the future. You have to do it. And I didn't want to do it. And then a year later, he said, Dusty, you have to blog. Okay, fine. So he built me a website, started putting content out there. And I really reached my own critical mass. I had, I think, 100 subscribers or something like that. I was in the thousands of readers, which is okay. But then we met and he said, no, you really have to continue to grow. So he just kept pushing me, and everything he told me to do played out perfectly. And then, before I knew it, I was writing and having readers from all over the world. I was being featured in Australian magazines and speaking at Inman and doing things just from the fact that I started writing. So it really
what
was
were you
just
writing about?
everything. It was specifically geared toward training agents. There's so many blogs in my town of Santa Barbara, Montecito, where it's a buyer's blog or a local blog, and that's okay. I'm not against that.
Sure.
But I had to do something a bit different.
Right.
So I started training agents, and then that made me look like the professional and the expert. And clients were seeing me as the expert. Agents around the nation were seeing me as the expert. I was getting referrals from Oklahoma and random places like that. But it increased my sphere way more than I ever thought it would, and really just created a credibility that for free. And that's the other thing, is it's free besides all the hard work.
Yeah, exactly. So how does somebody start a blog? What was that process, other than some motivation?
It's really that easy. I like Squarespace. Squarespace website, and start writing.
Yeah.
Just start writing. My first article was okay, and now I think they're quite good. But you just have to get content out there.
Right.
And you'll always, mess up and do whatever, but you'll keep getting better and better, and just make a goal to write an article a week.
And for SEO purposes, how many words do you need to have? Is there anything specific that people should include into those blogs?
Yeah, I need to get better at that. That's the next step. My marketing guy says, okay, you're 90% of the way there. Now start, doing all the keywords and start tagging and doing all of that. So I need to get better at that. But I did choose article topics based on what I thought people would Google.
Sure.
So, working with international clients or luxury marketing or, all sorts of things like that.
Sure.
So choosing your words wisely, because, organic Google rankings are powerful, and they're expensive. So if you can do it for free just by thinking and being creative, but literally just using the words that you think someone would Google.
Sure.
And then you can go in the back end and do quite a bit more.
Right.
Beta tagging and stuff like that, but
now we're getting technical.
Yeah, no, that's too technical.
So let's put things into a financial perspective. What would you say is the average amount of leads you get per month, per year from just your blog alone?
It's not a monthly thing by any means, but a few. I mean, I've closed a few from my blog. So, in the millions of sales. I'm also lucky I'm in Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
A small sale's $1 million, so that helps.
Sure.
But even one sale, you're making $10,000 to $40,000 depending on how much the sale is. That's incredible.
Right.
For free.
Right.
Except for $10 a month hosting a website.
Yeah, which is nothing. If
but
you can't pay $10 a month, you shouldn't be in real estate.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
Yeah, but it's not quite to the point of monthly leads, but I'm getting consistent leads. And it all sort of comes together as well. People that read my blog and follow me on social media and connect with me somehow. So it's getting harder and harder to actually pinpoint how they found me to begin with. But it's been a great source of income.
Sure. You had said that you didn't feel or don't feel that you're necessarily great at writing. Do you think that that's a huge requirement to be phenomenal at writing to start a blog, or?
No. I think with my writing, I
think you're great at writing.
Well, thank you.
I mean,
Well, I'm not kidding when I say I almost failed out of English in high school and college. So my English professors would laugh if they knew that I was writing. But I think that's because that style of writing is so different than business style.
Right.
Whereas, how much time do you really have? You want to read an article that's not too long, probably has images and bullet points, and that's the way I write, is really concise. I like to add humor, so everything that comes naturally for me works for the blog.
Right.
But did not work in class.
right, which is so interesting.
Yeah, but you know what? You don't have to be great, and you'll always get better.
Right.
Naturally.
What do you use platform-wise to push out? Because, a lot of people think, okay, well, I'll just blog, I'll put it on my website, and I'm not getting any traffic, so I'm not going to blog anymore. People don't realize it's not just the blog, it's the blog, and then, posting it out on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and all the other avenues. There's so much to do after the blog. So what do you do? What's that process?
Yeah, well, blogging and videos are the same. If you just create them and then they sit there, if a tree falls in the woods and no one hears it, did it fall? It's sort of like that. And see, people do it with videos. I didn't get any, views. So you have to really push it out.
Right.
So of course I'm doing all my social media, and I already had a decent Instagram following, so I started pushing as many people from there. Facebook is great. You can do targeted Facebook ads, which has helped a little bit. But the best way to get it in front is, I keep referencing my marketing guy. He's just amazing.
I know, I need to get his number.
You do. He's just fantastic. And he's a good friend of mine. But he said it's much easier to find out where the parade is and jump in front of it than it is to, choreograph your own parade.
Right.
So he said, where are the parades? So I started reaching out to other people and saying, can I write a guest post?
Sure.
So that's how I ended up with Inman. Zerpal has posted my articles. Active Rain has been huge in getting more subscribers. EliteAgent.com. Just all the there's so many real estate sources, and at the end of the day, there's some sort of editor or publisher or someone running a site, and they don't want to do their job. So if you say, I'll do your job for you, I'll write you an article, here you go,
right,
and then shamelessly bring it back to your
Everyone
website.
wants free content, though,
Free content.
and people don't understand that. They're like, well, how did you get in this or that? It's like, I just told them I'd write something, and they were, welcoming, because everyone wants content. You might need to be a little bit better, in English with your grammar, but, if you're good, you don't have to be great, just good, informative, and concise.
Yeah, and I made sure to, cross my T's and dot my I's.
Of course.
My first article with Inman, I looked it over like 50 times. I had my business partner read it, and my wife read it, just to make sure I didn't look like a complete idiot. And when I sent it over, they even said, wow, it's very clear that you've gone through this. They didn't edit at all. So the first few times, make sure it looks good.
Yeah. So you have said that Facebook and Instagram have been phenomenal for your business. I know you've even spoken to large crowds just on Instagram alone.
Yeah.
So tell us, let's first start with Instagram. How do you use Instagram to really grow your business?
It's a branding tool. Everyone from the people in my market to my fellow agents to agents around the nation and the world know what I do. And that's worth a lot of money. Even when you just get licensed, you're just trying to tell your sphere, hey, I'm in real estate. So I use it, largely as just a branding tool. And Instagram is cookie cutter for real estate.
Right.
We're visually based. If we were growing our accounting firms, that'd be really tough.
Right.
Hey, here's another tax return with all the information blurred out. That's no fun. But we're
Here's
beautiful
how
homes.
much you owe.
Yeah. Big scary numbers. So I've just been pushing it that way. And I started first just, I'm going to keep growing it and see what happens. And I started to realize everywhere I went, from locally to even conferences like Inman, people would approach me and talk to me about my Instagram account. People that I didn't even know followed me in different cities or all over the place would talk to me about that. And maybe they didn't even like the picture, but they'd say, oh, that was so cool, you went horseback riding, or I saw that listing with the view, oh my gosh. So I started to really understand and harness the power of that. So then I just ran with it.
Any specific hashtag?
I don't brand a hashtag. I probably should.
Maybe.
I would hashtag things that other people would actually search. So
Right, instead of the whole, I'm probably also kind of guilty for that. Sometimes I'll hashtag realtor life, but
Well,
you
might
know,
as well.
might as well. But I also think that it's important to keep it unique. And it's so important to just be different than everyone else.
Well, and that's the thing is just have fun with it.
Yeah.
So my
Don't
wife is
overthink it.
Yeah, my wife is in fashion, and one of her photographer friends, who does mainly like beach shots and bikini and runway, would post things on Instagram and do hashtag Starbucks. Because if you think about it, every other Starbucks post is some dark cup of coffee in a dark room, and then boom, a girl in a bikini on a beach. So just to be different, you stick out like crazy.
Yeah,
So
that's
even if it's
insane.
just something funny like that, just be different.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Facebook. So how did you start your business of Facebook? Do you have a business page and a personal page, or?
I do. I have a Facebook page too.
Okay.
But I started it when everyone they had them. Like
Yeah.
they just said start a Facebook business page like 5 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't use it very often. I'm a big lifestyle brand, so a little bit of Dusty, some of my hobbies, and my real estate.
Right.
So I hardly ever use my business page. It has a huge following, so I post occasionally. But I'm a huge advocate of keeping social media social.
Right.
And some people just spam over and over again. And Santa Barbara is such a small town that I'll hear about, this other agent, all he does is post online and all about his listings on Facebook, and it sort of pisses people off. So.
Yeah, it gets old after a while. So how do you incorporate, do you have any method of, you post X listing versus X of social? Is there 1-for-1, or is it a little more social than business?
All across. I do the 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So 1/3 business, 1/3, myself, my family, and 1/3 some sort of hobby that someone can connect with. So that way it keeps it always interesting. If you're always business, they're like, cool, I can look at a magazine for homes.
Right.
If it's just you, it's okay, unless I'm good friends with you, we're not going to resonate.
Right.
And it's just a little creepy. Like if I was following someone who's just his kids, it's just a little weird. I don't need to do that. And then just hobbies get old, but any way I can sort of touch people and, that's a cool house, or, I saw a picture of you and your family, and then they resonate, or, you like cars too. Or,
Yeah.
Any way that you can draw people out to interact. But
What about times? Is that, a lot of people ask me, and I think my answer might be different than someone else's. What times do you post? Is it important to post at certain times?
I used to say it was different with Facebook and Instagram, but now it's the same because it's the same owner, and they're both, they took away the chronological timeline,
Right.
and it's all preferential now.
Right.
So Facebook, I'm shameless, I'll just let everyone know, if I post something and I want people to see it, I'll call like 5 of my friends and say, comment and like immediately. Because otherwise it falls into the abyss,
Yeah.
and no one ever sees it because it's all
Yeah.
preferential. But if they do that, it gets put to the top immediately, and then everyone logs in, they see it, they like, they comment, and then you're just hanging at the top the rest of the week.
So I'm gonna call you, and you can call me, and I'll
Exactly.
like and comment, and vice
Yep.
versa, and then
Yep.
we'll just go quickly to the top.
Exactly. And it sounds pathetic. It sounds like you're working the system, but we're not on social media because we're bored.
Right.
We're on it to build an empire.
Right.
If I'm bored, I'd rather be surfing or doing something else, not on my phone again.
Right.
So I have to use social media as a tool for business, and it's disguised as a lifestyle, but it's just for business.
Right.
So I'm shameless when it comes to that.
Do what you gotta do.
Do what you gotta
I mean,
do.
everyone's doing it, just very few people talk about it.
Yeah, I'll talk about it. I'll
I mean,
be
look
open.
at it. There's all
Yeah.
these people with all these fake followers and fake
Yeah.
likes and stuff like that. At least you have somebody real. You're just kind of giving them the push.
Yeah, just a nudge, yeah. Hey, maybe you just like it. And Instagram just changed it, where now it's the not chronological but preferential. I don't know how their algorithm works, and I think I'm just lucky I have a big following. I mean, you have a larger following, that when you do post, it just ends up in front of more people, so we're sort of lucky.
Yeah.
If you're starting fresh, it's a bit tougher. I would recommend posting right in the morning when everyone's in bed, scrolling as they wake up. Lunchtime is big,
Right.
because people are eating and scrolling, or like 8 o'clock at night.
Right.
Those are the big times that I found.
Right. I read once that people check their social media 30 to 50 times a day.
Gosh, I believe it.
Which is
I probably do.
I know, I probably do too. I'm like, who's liked my photo? Dusty
Yeah.
liked it, yes.
I know, 10 more likes, yes.
So let's talk about being a millennial agent. We're both millennials. I'm creeping up there, but I'm still a millennial.
You're millennial, yeah.
But, how do you think that that's helped you? Because I know you do luxury. So how has that helped you and hurt you?
It's easier to see how it's helped me. It's hard to tell if it's hurt me. What if people just didn't hire me, but they didn't tell me it's because of my age?
Right.
So I always do wonder that. I've told people, yeah, my age has never affected me, but I don't know if it's never affected me.
Right.
They could have just said, oh, he's great, but there's no gray in his hair. I've gotten listings specifically, and they've actually verbalized, you're young, you're tech savvy, I want that. So it's nice hearing that.
Do you use that to your advantage? So do you present it and say, not necessarily I'm a millennial, but in so many words, I'm, in the forefront of all the new technology that's out there. So use it to your advantage.
Oh yeah. I mean, my listing presentations, I have pictures of me speaking and say, yeah, you can hire him, but I'm usually training him. He's been to my classes, that type of thing. So you always have to look like, have the competitive advantage, but certainly market yourself as having that. So it helps in that regard. They just assume young means tech savvy. Even when I got into real estate when I was 19, I was an unpaid intern, just learning, and everyone thought, oh, he's 19, he can build websites. I had never built a website in my entire life, but I built 3 websites because they told me to.
Yeah.
Okay. And clients do that too. And does it hurt me? Maybe. There's probably people who think I'm too young, or actually they think my son or daughter is his age, and they're just smoking weed and living in my basement, so this guy can't possibly have his stuff together enough to sell my house.
Yeah.
And that's actually a big problem in Santa Barbara. Is a lot of my age just isn't doing much.
Sure.
So they just assume it's all their parents that I'm working with, but it's because of shows and people like you, frankly, that have helped. Because they're seeing, you or Josh Flagg or, the Altmans, these really young people that are succeeding in selling serious luxury, that people are getting more used to seeing the young people succeed. Whereas I think even 10 years ago, you're 50 or over, and you have to be.
I think it's a much, much, much different business. It's the new real estate era. I always talk to people about that. And even though there's a lot of great new technology, as I've always mentioned, I'm very big on old school.
Yeah.
What's your favorite old school method?
Face-to-face.
Yeah.
Nothing beats face-to-face.
Yeah.
I have 100% client retention. I've never had a client buy or sell through me and then go somewhere else, because it's face-to-face, and maybe I'm tooting my own horn. I think I'm pretty good face-to-face with clients, and it doesn't matter if they meet another agent. So it's not as easy. It's easier to post something and have it shoot out, or send a mailer to go to 1,000 people. But if I can get lunch with someone or golf with someone,
right,
I've got it. So I've always liked that.
Cool. Thanks so much for being a part of the show. How can people connect with you on social?
All my handles are at Dusty J Baker.
Perfect.
So that's easy, direct message. I couldn't do at Dusty Baker. The manager of the Giants took that. So that's what happens when you're named after someone famous. You have to add your middle initial. So connect with me through that way.
Perfect. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's Sam Speaks. Make sure to download the podcast on SamSpeaks Radio on iTunes and tune in each and every week.